said don't do crystal meth in the bathroom all night long.
That's my opinion!
He will never emotionally fulfill you.
Because I don't want to be a part of it.
Go to sleep! Go to sleep!
Close your legs to married men, trash box.
I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
Who gonna check me, boo?
Welcome to Morally Corrupt, a show here on the Ringer reality feed. I'm Rachel Lindsay, and as you know, a guest joins me every week to talk Bravo news, and I am so excited for our guest this week, Danny Pellegrino. None other than Danny.
We're going to have fun.
Than Danny. No, we're going to have the best time. It's the first time we've done it in person.
I know, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
weird,
we've done it on Zoom a bit,
but
times.
natural.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we were talking for several minutes before we even popped on.
I'm glad they didn't record any of that.
I am
because,
glad too.
Yeah.
But this should be a lesson that we should do some more
I
stuff
know.
together.
Well, I think we've talked about this off air
We
in
have.
person before. We need to do some sort of like View-esque
Yes.
type show.
I'll bring back like the honesty, the snark. We say what you're thinking, and maybe you're just a little too afraid
It's
to say
exhausting.
it.
Did you watch the Emmys at all?
Maybe I'm a little burned for my extra days, but no.
I mean, good. I'm specifically, I want to talk about the red carpet coverage because it's just lost any sort of
I agree.
personality. And I think there are great people that do it. It's just, it can be frustrating because no one's able to give any sort of honest opinion now. It's so...
In print, they are. So if you do, not to promote, but shout out to Mark Malkin, if you do look at Variety, because they're print, but yes, they have a show, they get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of things. And I feel like the stars, there's a level of respect.
Yeah.
Because even when I was on the carpet during my extra days towards the end, I would watch people walk right past us and go straight to like Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Reporter. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, we're not dealing with you. We know the type of questions we're going to get. And there was more respect, and they would revere the print, which I get. So I think that it's there. It's just we didn't do it on our entertainment reporting TV shows.
You know, there's ways to do it. I know people always say Joan Rivers days are gone. We were talking about the Joan Rivers days. And I think there are ways to do and snarky and silly and sarcastic and have all of that while also being respectful.
Yeah.
I think for some reason, a lot of these institutions think you can only be one or the other. You either have to be so sugary sweet or you have to be completely Joan Rivers, tearing everybody down. I think there is a middle ground that people can recognize. But unfortunately, it seems like they're not doing that.
I'll tell you where it is. It's in podcasting. We do it all the time in podcasting. And at the end of the day on these shows, people still want to promote what it is that they're doing. And there is the fun of doing the carpet. You get dressed up. You've probably been pre-gaming before. They want to talk to you. So I think that we need to stop being a little bit scared and just like embrace, I'm going to say the good old days. And I actually hate when people say that because I always feel like that they mean something different when they say that. I miss the good old days, but I'm going to say it for this in context. Okay, let's get into Bravo. There's so much going on.
There's always so much going on, isn't there? It's like, it's the sort of the gift that keeps on giving because even on slow times.
Because it is.
It's a little bit of a slow time in terms of like what's airing. But even in slow times, it's like there's plenty we could talk about.
But be honest. Are you a little bit happy that it's a little slow because daddy duties right now?
Yeah, I have a 3-month-old at home, so it is nice to have a little bit of a quiet. I'm only, on my show, it's Everything Iconic, and I recap a lot of these shows, and so I'm only doing Orange County, and then I'm diving into Salt Lake this week. And then Miami, for some reason, always kind of remains. I love Miami so much, but it sort of remains that show that I watch for me, and so I'm not taking notes during it.
Do you feel like that's important for you? Because that's interesting.
Yeah. And
do you always do that?
It sort of happened accidentally this year because I took a little paternity leave, and then when I was kind of slowly dipping my toe back into work, Miami was at the tail end of the season and Orange County was earlier. So I was like, oh, if I'm going to pick one of the other, I didn't want to cover too many shows because I didn't want to be overwhelmed with the new baby. And so I chose Orange County. But it's nice then so that I could watch Miami and I'm like, oh, I don't have to take notes. I could just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because the other shows, unfortunately, I've been doing it so long and I still love watching them and talking about them on my show. But I do take notes and I think like, okay, what am I going to talk about here? What am I going to say about this? Or what happened there? I'm having to pay more attention. And I feel like that sucks a little of the relaxation out of it.
I agree with you. And maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I will watch McBee Dynasty since we don't cover that on Morally Corrupt, but have a little something for myself. Because I think that also plays into sometimes we do. We're like you. Sometimes we interview people, but it's not an interview-based show. And I like that because I want there to be a little bit of distance between myself and the show, as we were talking, but also myself and the people on the show.
Yeah.
Because we do give these opinions and then you meet them. And I don't want it to change what I'm saying, or I'm a little scared.
And a
I'm
lot
like,
of
oh,
times
do they listen?
it does, because I think, especially on Bravo, I don't know if it's the way that it's edited or how it goes, but most of the time when you meet the people, they are a little different in person or nicer. I mean, they're still what you see on TV, but what you see on TV is like one kind of extreme portion of their personality.
Yeah.
And then you meet them in person, you're like, oh, that person's really sweet or nice. And then, so yeah, you do feel bad.
It just happened to me.
Who was it?
Guess who I ran into? I talked a little bit about this on the podcast before, but I was at the Cowboys documentary Netflix premiere. Big Cowboys fan, as I'm wearing a shirt. Now we won. We won yesterday. You got to take our wins where we can get them. And as soon as we walk in, I see Jason and Janet, and I'm like,
Jason and Shannon?
Janet.
Oh, Jason and Janet. Yeah. I was
Jason
like, who's
and
Shannon?
Janet.
Wait.
No, from the Valley. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want, because obviously if you listen, you know how I feel. And I'm like, I don't want to run into them. But I see them with Jared. And I know Jared. So I was like, I have to avoid Jared because he's going to talk to me. And then I have to run into them and talk to them. And of course, it ended up happening. And they were lovely.
So, yeah.
But the thing that got me was Jason was like, I'm a big fan of The Ringer. So I've heard your podcast.
So he knows.
He was like, I only listened to when you talked about the first season. I was like, yeah, don't listen to the second season. But those moments, I want to keep the distance. I want to feel like, because a lot of times people will say, Rachel, you come from reality TV. You should understand that what you see isn't always the truth. Yes, but I can't do that as a podcaster. I have to watch it like I'm watching it as an audience member and not say, well, when I was on reality TV, this happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we sort of watch reality TV like sports. I mean, so a lot of times we're kind of judging the plays and stuff, and it can get a little murky when you're giving opinions about that stuff. But we're watching it like sports. And so we're judging like the play that Janet's doing on the Valley or how they're playing the game of the show. But I always say, like, when I try to say this on my show often, it's like, don't get mad at me because I'm judging what the show is showing me. So
For sure.
You should get mad at your editors, your producers. If you have a problem with like how they're portraying you, like let's say if, for instance, because we're talking about the Valley, if like the way Janet's portrayed, then it's like, don't have a problem that I'm calling out on it. I'm judging what I'm seeing on the show.
Right.
So like you should call up your editor, your producer, Bravo, HQ, and say like, why are you showing me like this? I'm looking angry or desperate or thirsty or whatever the adjective is.
I'm stealing that. I'm going to start saying that now too. Don't get mad at me. We're just doing our job.
We're judging the show that's presented to us. And oftentimes it's like if you're on that show, like Jana, for instance, should know she came across terrible all season, right? Like but that's not my fault. Like, and I think she's actually, I've, know her a little bit in person too. And I think she's lovely in person and wonderful. And I'm sure the show shows a little portion of that.
Yeah. Dave and Buster's.
But yeah, so there are other sides, of course. But so I always think as a podcaster, I have to kind of hold on to that. It's like, I'm judging the show they're showing me. So it's not my fault if they're being crazy or whatever.
And you're not attacking people personally. We're talking about the narrative on the show.
Sometimes maybe attacking. Not on purpose, but no.
Not on purpose. It just slips out.
Slips out.
The other day we were talking about this on Morally Corrupt and like how you got into Housewives, or what was your first thing that you became obsessed with Housewives? Because for me, I started watching as an escape. Well, I started reality TV in college, which I guess was an escape as well.
Were you like an early like Real Worlder kind of person?
Oh yeah, so even far back, Real World. I always say MTV raised us. Yeah. But especially me growing up in a strict household. So I was like, oh, this is what sex is. This is what, MTV really helped out with that. But in college, it was just an escape from the regular curriculum and all of that and that kind of thinking. And even more so as becoming a lawyer, it was like, oh, I can turn on Bravo and escape from reality. For you, what was your first housewife obsession and how you got into it?
I loved early, from the get-go. I think New York season 1 was like when I really got hooked. And then I went back and watched Orange County, like those first couple of seasons. And then I was just like off to the races there. It was like any city, I think was New York's second city to premiere, I think maybe after Orange County.
I always forget this.
It was like, I think it premiered
Jersey,
right around
Atlanta. New
Atlanta.
York. It's all the same, yeah.
Yeah, they all kind of Atlanta and New York came around the same time. And so those two I was addicted to from the beginning. And then I went back and watched maybe those first couple of seasons of Orange County that I had missed. But I remember the early days of Bravo when it was like a more artsy channel. And I loved like the workout show with Jackie Warner. And I was just rewatching a couple episodes of that. And like everything that Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D List. And that was like,
I forgot these were Bravo shows though. There was something else somebody was talking about this Bravo, and I was like, it was? I forget. Like, old Bravo was totally different. Yeah. Housewives just took over and became its
And then they really
system.
leaned into the Housewives. But I couldn't stop. Once I was hooked, it was like any new city that would come. I was hooked. So I was from the beginning.
Who was the first housewife you met? And was it like a don't meet your heroes type of moment?
You know, the first person that ever came on my podcast, Housewife-wise, was Margaret Josephs. And early on in my podcast, like the newer housewives would be the only ones I could book on my show. And when I booked more guests at the beginning than I do now. Now it's mostly me talking about Bravo. But in the early days, it was like if a housewife was new, their PR was trying to get them on places, and sort of the housewives that had been around for a while wouldn't do just a random podcast. But so I remember Margaret, her first season, I had her on the show. And she was so sweet. Yeah, she was sweet to come on.
So good. We were talking about this. I don't know who the first one was.
Who was the most memorable one?
Maybe Garcelle? Maybe. No. It was Ramona. Because I had just come off The Bachelorette. And I was in New York. Maybe it was around Fashion Week. Yeah, it was totally around Fashion Week. And it was an Us Weekly party. And there were several Bravo people there. So it was like Shep was there. Shep was totally disrespectful to my ex, which in hindsight, thank you.
Oh.
But he totally
finally Shep did something right.
Yeah, he like walked past him, like pushed him out the way to like come over and say something. And I remember it was like not a good thing. But it was Ramona, because Ramona comes up to me and she's like, they tell me you're the Bachelorette, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, should I be the Bachelorette? Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, take my number. She was gone. And she was like, take my number. And I took her. I wonder if I still have that now that I'm thinking about that. And
we should text her right now.
And she texted me. Her? I wonder if I have it.
Can we prank her on air?
She texted me and said, I would hope she's changed it. And said something like, oh my God, I met the Bachelorette. I should be the Bachelorette. We should figure that out. It was like something like that. And
you're
like,
in charge of production now.
I don't
you're going to be like, Ramona. You mentioned Garcelle, and her first season, it was another similar situation where it was like her first season, maybe doing some more podcasts than she would now. And she came on, it was in partnership with some like diaper company, which those always make me laugh. I don't do those anymore. It was like an adult diaper. You know how they'll team up with like, a lot of celebrities will team up with a brand or something.
Sure.
And then the brand will want them to go do PR for the brand. Yeah. But then so with podcasts, sometimes they would reach out and say, hey, we have Garcelle or whoever. She's doing this partnership with this adult diaper. And she's able to talk about Bravo, but then you also have to mention the diapers.
Sure.
And so my first time interviewing Garcelle, it was like over Zoom, the early days of the pandemic, like in partnership with diapers.
I didn't even know that she sold diapers, which is,
it was a very brief,
thought that was exclusive to Lisa Rinna.
Listen, she like made a joke too, something about Lisa Rinna's full of shit. And, but God bless, because also, like those are lucrative partnerships.
Like, for sure.
Get your check. Yeah, we've all done it.
Listen, I'm at the place where you might see me. I got a divorce to pay for. If an adult diaper company came to me, I would say, sign me up.
I will wear a diaper right alongside my 3-month-old if they're going to pay me, because we got to pay for his diapers. So whatever we got to do.
Potty training times. That actually, you might be onto something.
We do love the coterie diapers.
You should pitch that.
Yeah.
If you could reboot one Bravo series, bring it back from the dead, because we're in the era right now of remakes, reboots, prequels, sequels. What would you do?
I mentioned workout, and I have had so many body image eating disorder issues throughout the years, but I still would like workout to come back. Here's what I need from workout was like a lesbian drama. I need Bravo to give us a lesbian drama. I mean, it was set at a gym, but like the gym didn't even make any sense.
Sure.
Like we don't even need the gym aspect of it, but I need like a group of lesbians and their friend group. And I wished RHONY would have leaned into that this past season because they had a few lesbians on the show. And to me, that was like the most, like, I want to see that organic group of friends. It was like Jenna Lyons and who was the other housewife?
Raquel.
She was a friend, Raquel. And I was like, give me that, like their natural friend group. Raquel's wife, was she married?
At least engaged.
Yeah,
You're right. Yes.
And Workout was like all of that lesbian dating drama amongst this group of the head of it was Jackie Warner, who owned this gym, and it was like her girlfriend who worked at the gym, and then these other trainers, and of course there were other straight people on there too, but it was like, I want that. I want like a lesbian real L word type show.
I think that would be awesome. I have a friend who has a show concept, and it goes around a business, and the business is owned by lesbians.
I
We
mean,
should
give
talk
it
off
to
mic.
us. I want it. I mean, I used to love the real L word, and I want that. Or, I mean, I'd love a group of gay men too, something like that. But yeah, Workout is the one I just was rewatching. I'm like, man, they had some good lesbian drama on this. They were always like
I'm
cheating
for
on
that.
each other, and like there was couples. It was like a lot of good stuff.
I like that. My first thought was DC.
Oh yeah,
Especially
DC.
right
I
now.
know. I'm
Like
sort of
right
shocked.
now.
But I bet you they will. Because of what I think Bravo's realizing, and I just saw today there was like a Ladies of London new era announced or something.
But is it going to be on Bravo?
It's going to be on Bravo.
Okay,
It's not, there's like a Real Housewives of London that's like a separate thing in another country.
Right.
But this is going to be on Bravo. Bravo just released a teaser this morning. It was like Ladies of London. I don't remember what the
see
it's like
this.
New Era or something. So it's not, I don't think the cast is going to be any of the other cast. But I think what Bravo is realizing is like, those shows at the time were lowly rated, but now those are the type of ratings, they'd kill for.
For
and
sure.
It's all about IP now. So I think rather than getting a lot of new shows, they're going to kind of dive back in that well. And the ratings, even if it's a portion of what they used to do of Ladies of London, it's still going to do really well.
Well, I think that taps into what we were kind of talking about with off mic when like networks are struggling on and like production companies are trying to figure out like what in 2025 do people want? What sparks their interest? Because there's so many different platforms. Everybody has their own mic, it seems like these days. And there's so much content that it feeds into this insatiable appetite that probably already existed, but even more so now. Nothing they give us is enough. We're always looking for the next thing. We get a new show. I find myself saying that show's got one more year before it's tapped out. And what does seem to work, at least in the Bravo world, is going back. You can take OC, for example. Tamra was gone. They brought Tamra back. They brought Vicky back. Gretchen's coming back. It's new to some people. This cast in itself has never dealt with Gretchen. So even all this conversation about Naked Wasted, none of those people were there for it, except for Tamra. So that's something that I think that is interesting. So new shows, bringing back old cast. That was the beauty of Ultimate Girls
You bring
Trip.
back a lot of the audience too that maybe has dipped out over the years because they're like, oh, I'm kind of curious what happened with Gretchen or whoever it is, and they check back in.
Maybe I'm wrong in saying this.
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, I think they need to tap into, okay, I know that reality TV is an escape, but are you showing someone's real life if you take out their political beliefs? We got a lot of that with Kelly Dodd. Kind of off, kind of on, because Black Lives Matter and all of that was around. But all this talk surrounding Gretchen about being so MAGA, and that's a part of her presence on social media and the life that she lives, that needs to come into the show. I am clearly anti-MAGA, and I would keep watching.
Well, and that's what's so interesting. You mentioned Real Housewives of DC. Like, I think that, to me, that would be such an interesting angle of that show. If you're not gonna, if you want to keep these other shows, what I think works so well about Housewives is they all have their own sort of flavor. So it's like if you want to keep that out of something like Real Houses of Orange County, it's like would be so interesting to really lean into that for something like the Real Houses of DC, which I would love to see that political world. It's not something I know much about. So like I would kind of want to know like what are these Housewives of DC like?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the original series was just that one season and we got like of course, the White House.
Oh, sneaking into the
thing.
White
But
House.
yeah, I would love to see that. And I don't know. I mean, it just, that's what gives that city its own flavor,
And yes, there's a fear of, okay, this could be divisive in the sense, but it will add drama and you might alienate some of your audience. But at the same time, couldn't it also be an opportunity to foster conversation where, because people think that I'm combative, but what I do love are the people who come in my DMs and say, hey, I don't agree with you, but I'm trying to understand. Can you help me with this? Love it. More than happy to do that. It could provide a space of, hey, we can agree to disagree, or wow, I didn't see it that way. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just try it out. You want to bring me to Housewives?
And get people to
I'd come if I could talk about stuff like that. That's
it would
fun.
get people talking too. I mean, all these shows like we were talking about, I think off air, it's like, they need something to talk about.
Yeah.
And the attention span, as we were saying, the attention span, I think for a lot of these shows, it's like they get one big season. And so you need to do something to get people talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, let's get to talking. You just brought some news to me when you talked about this new trailer that came out for the Ladies of London.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a whole new, I didn't see, it's like a teaser trailer. So I don't think there was much information about it, but yeah, it is coming.
This is what gets me excited about the fact that BravoCon is upon us, because we missed out on a year. They did Fan Fest last year, but with BravoCon comes announcements. And so I feel like that, what you just brought to the table, is gearing up
That
for
was like a little appetizer.
What?
Yeah.
Are you hearing things?
No, I mean, but BravoCon, they save it all. So they're going to, I think my sort of prediction, and I don't know anything or haven't heard anything, but I'm sure we'll get a Jersey announcement at BravoCon.
We need an update.
Yeah, I'm certain of it, which I would imagine, I think sort of the rumors of it following Melissa and like that sort of side of things is what is going to happen. That's kind of what keeps being reported. But also I saw Teresa gave an interview and she said something like, or she was being interviewed with Gia about that Special Forces show, and she implied that she would be willing to make up with Joe and Melissa. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that they're sort of soft launching.
I think that's a good point, because I think she was on Jeff Lewis also, and she made that comment. And that's like, love a beautiful segue. That leads into like literally the first topic is talking about Teresa Giudice or Giudice. How do you say it? Giudice.
Well, yeah.
Okay, Teresa
The early
Giudice.
seasons, it was Giudice, and then I think like, I don't know, season 4 or 5, she's like, it's actually Giudice.
Good, lean into the Italian. I like that.
I like that.
But I agree with you about the soft launching, because we saw Danielle on the carpet, I believe it was at the VMAs, and she was kind of insinuating that filming that's where all this really kind of started, that it's happening. She didn't say who or what, but said we'll be excited. And I didn't think of this till now, that they're totally doing that for BravoCon. Now you have Teresa saying this on Casual Chaos. You know how I feel about that show.
What's Casual Chaos?
Gia's show.
Oh, that's her. Is that her podcast?
Her podcast. Sorry, her podcast.
All I saw was like from the Special Forces red carpet or whatever color carpet it was.
Was that where they did it?
I've never watched that show, but like the idea of it cracks me up. Like
Special Forces.
Yeah, like
I was asked to do that show.
What was you didn't want to do it?
First time they asked me, I was in the thick of my divorce, and I just, as you read a headline, like I was like, he'll come after that money. I just like didn't feel like being
was it good
talking
money?
about
Was it good money?
Yeah, and then the second time, I was going to Cannes. And I just felt like that. And I was representing Spotify. See how I put Spotify first? See my priorities in place. It just didn't make sense. I thought the benefit was representing Spotify, higher learning, morally corrupt, what we do here, than being on the show.
See, like the idea of it in my head is better than me watching it. Like I'm afraid to put on an episode because like I just picture the clips I've seen of like Brittany Cartwright in camouflage. And it's just that's better in my head to just be like that.
That's how I feel about Love Thy Nader. I want to
I have no idea
I want to
is.
Be willfully ignorant. I don't want to turn it on and know. I don't want to have to speak on it.
I feel that about McBee Dynasty
Same.
too. I don't know anything about what it is, and I refuse to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I have enough on my plate right now, but it almost feels like a drug front or something. Like I don't know exactly what it is.
The end of it?
Wait, I want to also know. I'm interrupting you. I'm
No,
sorry, but I
you're
want to know
fine.
what other shows you were asked to do that you've turned out.
What other well, I was asked to interview for Dallas Housewives at one point. I was asked to interview for Miami Housewives. I was asked.
Did you interview?
No,
you
I didn't do
want
it.
to.
I actually referred my sister for Dallas. And I was like, she'll be great, my older sister. And that's how I see the questions that they ask, because they message her and they sent her questions of what they ask. And I'm like, no. The questions, at least for this in particular at this time, could be totally different now. Questions were all about like, what do you fight about? What do you fight about in your marriage? Are you married? What do you fight about? What is it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never do this.
So do you still feel that way? You would never do Housewives?
I'm in too deep to know. I'm very critical of people that come on that are fans of the shows. So I would be a hypocrite. I would be thinking, well, I remember in season 3 when she did this. If there was a whole new show they started, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's something that I would do.
You should front the new show.
Maybe. I mean, these days.
I feel like they must want you. I mean, they always hire you, of course, for things like BravoCon and FanFest and stuff like that. So they should do something more with you. I
don't mean to be cocky, but I think I would be a great reality TV star. The thing is me. I came off the show saying, Bachelorette, I did not want to do any more reality TV because I didn't want to be known for that. But I know I would be good. I'm confrontational. I would want, I take up for people. I'm fiercely loyal to a fault. I'm a Taurus. And I can argue. So I just think that, and I'm loud.
They need to do something. You also should be on Traitors too. I would love to see you on Traitors.
Thank you, Danny. I think so as well. Cause I wasn't watching Traitors. And then every year I'm sick, just recovering from COVID. Last year I had the flu and I was like, let me watch Traitors. I watched it, hooked. It was Phaedra season. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this show. I get it. I get what everyone's saying. And then I was like, this is a show that would bring me back. Traitors is the type of show that I would want to do.
To me, you'd be a slam dunk on there. I'm shocked. They should ask you. I don't know if they have asked you, but they should.
No, they haven't.
They should immediately.
They haven't. Thank you.
Immediately.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You'd be good too, though. You'd be so much fun.
They wouldn't cast me, but I would love to do it.
No, you have no. I mean, who knew that Dylan Efron would be cast? I think they're reaching out past.
But I don't have the abs of Dylan Efron.
No,
I mean,
please.
But that's what you need there. But
you're very handsome.
Thank you so much. I would be bad at I'm not confrontational at all, so I think I would just be crying in the corner of something. But that would be good TV in and of itself. And I always think I would love to do reality TV to just do the confessional stuff, I feel like I would be great in similar. You need sort of an audience surrogate, I think, a lot of times on these shows, and I think that's where I would thrive.
You would thrive. I'm so glad you brought this up because people don't talk about confessionals enough, or ITMs, as we call them on The Bachelor. But there is something about sitting in the chair, the camera's in front of you, the producer's right where you are, you probably have a drink to the side, and you just start getting super playful. And especially you're used to it from podcasting too. So you kind of get a little snarky. They'll ask you questions. You think you're gabbing with your friend on FaceTime or whatever it may be. And there's something empowering, but also vulnerable.
All my drama would be people seeing the season back and being like, I can't believe you said that shit about me. And I'd be like, whoops. I did
fun.
At the end of last year, I did that. Paris and Nicole, they did a reboot of The Simple Life. And it was just this 3-episode reunion series. And I worked on it for a few days. And what they ended up airing was kind of different than what I think it was initially. But it was so fascinating to me to see kind of the inner workings of a reality show and kind of be a part of it that way. And it was so much fun. And also seeing how those two work in that field.
I saw what you were doing with them. And I always think, and so we're so off track, we'll get back to Teresa and all that. But sometimes with what we do, don't you think it is so cool? I really thought that with Rosie O'Donnell and you. You grew up watching these people. They shaped culture for you, the way you think, the way you view things, maybe even developed your humor. If I could have met Lucille Ball, my gosh, I feel like a lot of my humor and quirkiness came from watching Lucy and Ethel. I've desired that type of friendship in real life. To get to meet or interview or work on a set with people that you so enjoyed watching or got to know, it's gotta be such a surreal
so weird
thing.
I mean, I'm a pop culture junkie, but the Paris and Nicole thing was the first day I filmed it we spent the whole day working at Sonic Burger. And that was sort of a infamous episode of the original Simple Life, was them working at this fast food place. And what they ended up showing was just a couple minutes, because it was all what we filmed was really, it went in a different direction. But we filmed a whole day, a whole shift there. And it was so weird because it was just the three of us. They said they set up the cameras and they just let us go. The three of us worked a shift together. And there was someone who was showing us how to work, the drive-through mic and make the slushies and all of it. And it was like, this is weird. I'm in an episode of this show that I was so impactful, like you said, of my sense of humor. And I remember watching Nicole and Paris do that in their initial series.
Yeah.
And it was like so hilarious to me how sort of irreverent they were, and how Nicole's so sharp and sarcastic, and Paris is kind of like a little flighty, and like, you know, then to be in the middle of it was so bizarre to me, but in the best way. But I kept thinking, like, throughout the day, I'm like looking around like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like I was in some sort of weird dream or something.
Yes,
and
yes.
It was just a weird fever dream.
I know exactly what you mean, and I just love those moments. And I think maybe some of what we do in podcasting or in writing and what you do manifests moments like that to happen.
Yeah,
Big
no, I
manifester
totally believe in manifestation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think you kind of secret your way into things.
100%.
And yeah, I found that with most things of my career that I've had success with. I did a Hallmark Christmas movie last year, and I'm like, I secreted that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I always wanted to do a Hallmark Christmas movie. And then
Yes.
it was a similar situation. I was filming it, and this my scene partner was this guy, Wes Brown, who's been in a million Hallmark Christmas movies. I've watched him forever. And I'm like, we're talking, we're like putting on lights on a porch in the scene. I'm like, this is so fucking weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm living in this weird kind of dream that I had or something.
I say this all the time, that I feel like one of these days I'm going to wake up and like you're going to be the person bagging the groceries, and, you know, this housewife is going to be the cashier. And you know what I mean? Like, I made all of this up. I don't know if that exists, but I was like, that's a show. There's
Like
something.
a manifestation show.
Yeah, there's something there
Recreating,
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, back to Teresa and how you really just opened my eyes. I'm thinking all this Jersey talk right now is about soft launching, maybe some big
BravoCon
announcement
will get announced
that's
sure.
coming from
I
BravoCon.
guess.
But Teresa did tell ET that she basically shut down the rumors that they're filming without her, which I love. I think this also creates some drama. And so she said, obviously, this is the quote, obviously they're not, because if they were filming, it would actually be out there. So it's just speculation and people putting stories out there. You really can't believe anything you read unless Bravo is saying it. Noting that no actual pictures of anyone filming have been released. See, I also love that because there's a little shade there, which lets me know that the drama still exists. That's shade at Danielle or anybody else who's been talking.
But also, like, what pictures, unless they're filming in public, what I would imagine they were doing is they were saying like test footage or kind of casting footage, you know, which ultimately they always end up using. Oftentimes it's like they will use it somehow in a flashback or in the season or whatever. But they would be doing that probably at their homes.
Yeah.
So it's not like they'd be out somewhere in public.
And I also think that they do this because they want to see how we'll react. Are we upset that Teresa's not there? Are we longing for something else? Do we want a show following Melissa?
What do you want?
I want Jersey.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I will scream if we rehash or deal with the Melissa and Teresa of it all. So even hearing Teresa say that she wants to move past it, that's impossible.
Yeah,
we've been doing that for almost a decade.
Yeah, they sort of tried or pretended, and it was always like, oh, it's not true. Like there was a couple seasons where Melissa and Teresa had a truce, and they would pretend they were good, and it was like you could feel through the screen that they were lying.
Yeah, it's impossible. Okay, you want me to be really honest?
Yeah.
I think Melissa's got to go.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't see how you have it, and this is not personal, Melissa and Joe, but I don't see how you don't have Teresa, and I don't want to just watch a Teresa show. I don't.
Yeah.
Teresa is an Alexia to me. You got to have them both, Alexia and Miami. Teresa needs to have the show, and I think you keep pretty much everybody else, and you remove Melissa. Let Melissa be a part of the new New York show. I think Andy came out and said, I saw that somewhere, that they are casting for a new New York show and some of the same people are coming back. Did I make that up? It could have been a false site. I saw it. I for sure saw it.
Did I dream that?
But what I do know,
we don't have to fact check everything in Bravo. If you saw it, that's good enough.
It was like a chart of who was coming back. It said Cy, Aaron, and Jessel.
Oh yeah, I saw this too.
And so I don't know and then it had a maybe with Jenna, And so it's like, well, let Melissa just go up there. I'm not saying get rid of Melissa. I'm just saying she doesn't belong on Jersey. If I have to choose, Teresa.
Well, and I think now what's interesting is these housewives don't really go anywhere. I mean, look at Luann. She's popping up in a Love Hotel or a Ultimate Girls Trip or whatever. Teresa was on Next Gen with Gia. And so like these, even when we're sort of saying goodbye, the ones that we really love, it might be okay for them to leave their main ship franchise and then go do other. We'll still get to keep in touch with you.
I completely agree. Like, there's never an ending.
I got in trouble once on Watch What Happens Live because I said it was Teresa's show, Jersey.
Well,
it's very that those fan bases can be very combative. But I just always like, if you had to look at it, it always has been sort of her show.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they have to figure something out. But I do want them to come back. I miss them so much.
Absolutely. I want RHONY to come back as well.
I don't know about that.
I do. I do. I really do.
Like with the newish cast?
I'm fine with, and then I guess I have to say this when you separate the two. I said I would want to lean in for Gretchen to lean into her MAGA life. Well, that's different. Ramona's said racist things. Now, being MAGA, I would say, is a bit racist, but, at least aligning yourself with certain racist ideologies. But I keep saying I don't want Ramona to come back because I think we're just in too deep. I think she's done some harmful things, but I could also see Ramona coming back. I think I'm willing to accept some things, but I need something more from her. I don't know, like make her lean into, let her be racist and then deal with the blowback. Is that right there? That comes from that. Fallout, yeah.
But the thing with Ramona is every interview that I've seen with her since, it does seem to me like she is definitively done.
Yes.
Like Luann, I've noticed when she gets interviewed recently about, would you go back to RHONY or something? Luann will always give that answer of like, well, never say never. The door's always open, whatever. Where Ramona seems to shut it down. And I'm not saying, obviously she's lied on camera before, so it wouldn't be the first time. But it does seem to me that she's done with that.
I think she's done because she knows it's not coming back.
Yeah.
And maybe she doesn't want to have to apologize. She doesn't want to have to own who she is. I'm kidding. I really don't want to see her be racist, you guys.
I just want Dorinda back. Like, that's who because like I miss that sort of chaos, and
I want Sonia back too.
Yeah, like to me, like those three, Sonia, Luann, and Dorinda, I like their level of chaos.
Are we missing someone?
No, I would love Tinsley to come back.
I would love Alex.
I would love Carol. Just sort of made her triumphant return. Yeah. Like I would love them to gather a group of RHONY, the old school RHONY together, even without Ramona, and just have our Dorinda, Luann, Sonia, Carol. Like that would be great to me.
I think bring Kristen back. I liked her on Ultimate Girls Trip. She still got it. She still got it for reality TV.
Yeah, like I think. Yeah. Okay. Maybe she doesn't have it. You're like, no, I would love. They sort of toyed around with that idea initially when they said that RHONY was being rebooted. They were like, "There's going to be the legacy cast, then there's going to be this new cast," and then there were contract problems, and then they just ended up going with the new cast, and then they did that little Ultimate Girls Trip with old gals. And I wish they would kind of revisit that RHONY legacy thing. And look, I'm all for the other iteration of RHONY going forward if they figure out a cast. But even in sort of these rumors that are coming out about who's staying and who's going, it still just feels so like a manufactured cast of people that don't really know each other. And I just want them to get back to basics of like, at least, I don't know.
I could do Jessel, Sai, Aaron. I like Melissa going up there. And maybe Melissa brings a friend.
You liked Raquel? I liked Raquel.
And Raquel.
Yeah, I thought Raquel,
Absolutely,
I don't think she was a main
Raquel.
cast member, but I thought she should have been.
Bryn's already announced to us that she's leaving. And
I know. What an announcement. It's
like Bravo was being really nice. And Uba can go as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Uba.
Just because it was tough to listen to, because she doesn't really.
The whole season was just.
See the
I thought
other
it was
side.
terrible. But see, I kind of felt the reason why I don't like it is I feel like they were gaslighting us all into thinking it was good, and like every step of the way, Bravo. And I know it's like you got to hype your shows. I get it. But it was like every step of the way, oh, they had the biggest panel at BravoCon. And like, all, like there were all these stories about how successful that relaunch was. And it wasn't.
You didn't think the first season was?
No. I thought the first season was terrible. What memorable thing happened from that first season? They kept, even in the promos for season 2, they kept leaning into this like tagline thing of like, it's there, which was supposed to be like some memorable moment from season 1. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, and I take notes on these shows and I'm like, I don't even remember that moment. And you guys are using in the marketing for season 2.
It.
Like, what do you remember from season 1 of that?
Honestly, yeah. Brynn. I thought Brynn was such a, and I the reason I know I liked it is because I had actual reactions about people. Like, I could not stand Aaron. Mm-hmm. And I really liked Brynn. And so to me, that means it moved me in a way. I thought Brynn was such a standout that first season. And
yeah, she was. Yeah.
I completely have, turned a corner on her in the second season. And I think that is who Brynn really is in the second season. But to me, I was excited at BravoCon that year for their panel. There really was a lot of excitement there. I was there, and I was one of the people.
Like their tagline, I was there.
I was there. I was really excited and eager to see where their lives went in that second season.
I just didn't like it. I thought that first season was so boring. Like I just thought it was boring. And then season 2 was so chaotic in like a bad way. And yeah. I don't know. But I just felt like they kept trying to sell us and like how successful the relaunch was. And look, from Angel Devil, like I understand the marketing. They can't say, oh, this was a huge flop. But I thought like it was a huge flop. And I kept feeling like they were trying to convince me that it wasn't.
You're probably right. I got caught up in it.
Yeah.
And probably BravoCon won me over even more. I was like,
but Brynn won me over at that one BravoCon where her heel got
that was the one.
Like to me, that was like Brynn's shining moment on Bravo. It was like everybody loved that moment, but it just wasn't enough. Even when I look on those 2 seasons, I'm like, I don't know that there was anything that is memed or memorable or a scene that I would go back to and laugh at or be interested in or anything. It was like
there's just certain stuff. I don't know. I grew to like Jessel. I didn't like her at first. Erin, I think the best thing about Erin is she thinks she's somebody that she's not, and I love watching that play out. Like she thinks that she's funnier than she is.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I enjoy that. Like Jody and Jody, we used to recap it. We would love to talk about those things. Like you could see her wanting to be another castmate or another.
Yeah, thinking she's the Bethany of the
100%. Yeah. That's entertaining to me.
Yeah, I get that.
But for one season.
What do you think about Jenna though?
I'm just such a Jenna Lyons fan, and I was before. I watched her show on HBO. I just think that she is very iconic in so many ways. And so it didn't bother me that she wasn't showing us her personal life. Any other housewife, I totally would have just like talked about so badly, probably on Morally Corrupt. But for Jenna, I'm like, but she's Jenna. She's above this. We're lucky to be graced with her presence.
See, I felt like we can't do that. We can't
I'm
have.
So wrong.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. But we just can't have that.
No, you're right.
That. But I get what you're saying.
You're right.
Yeah.
We're so wrong. But I felt we needed her for this new franchise. We needed the name, image, and likeness of a person like Jenna Lyons, in my opinion.
Did you watch that Big Shot with Bethany on HBO Max?
No, I do not like Bethany.
Bethany. It was terrible.
Bethany.
It was terrible. I don't know. You just said the HBO Jenna show, and I was thinking like when HBO Max launched, which I think it's something different now. But when it launched, it was like that Jenna Lyons show, Big Shot with Bethany. And like they were kind of leaning into reality TV. And that was the fever dream because it was early COVID days. And I just remember watching that. Like
we've been chasing Skinny Girl since its inception and the selling of it. And nothing has amounted to that for me. I have issues with the way Bethany does things.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Let's move on
You're not the only one.
You said you're not the only one?
You're not the only one.
Oh,
yeah. No, I find, yes. Yeah, it's a lot. She's a lot.
It's just interesting to see what she's become because I feel like she could have gone a completely different way with it. And that's disappointing because I didn't always feel this way.
I don't like how everything's like how she's like the best. I mean, I only see clips on social media, like her TikTok always pops up and it's always just like how she started everything, how she's the best at everything. And
Yeah.
I even saw this one recently. I know I shouldn't talk shit. who am I to judge?
You're unmorally corrupt.
But there was a thing about her talking about which reality shows she turned down, and
the question you asked me?
yeah, the question, but nobody was asking her. She was just like, here's what I turned down. But then she did that skating with she was like, so it sort of felt like, as viewing it, it felt like she was trying to say she was like above these reality shows. But then it was like she did Skating with the Stars. It's like
didn't even know that existed.
Exactly. So it's like, let's cool it. Like,
let's like be honest, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you are a very
totally
successful
fine.
businesswoman, but you also want to be front of camera fame as well with it. And there seems to be a little bit of snark that that's not happening for her. But I think she went about things the wrong way, and that's just.
But she's fascinating to me. She's one of those people that like you go from loving her one minute, hating her the next minute, and I feel like she's sort of monetized that.
She is polarizing.
Yeah,
she has leaned into that for sure. And they always I feel like Page Six is always posting her stuff on social, so she's tapped in there for sure.
Good publicist.
Yeah, for sure. Karen was released. That's not new news. But Andy Cohen has teased that he's going to be talking to her. How do you feel about that? Do you want her back?
I'm thrilled by the idea of like a mid-season trailer where at the end of the mid-season trailer this upcoming year, we see like Karen getting out of prison or going into the car or whatever. I think there was like footage of that. Yeah, I would like it.
I do too. Because we obviously want to see that she's better.
Yeah, I want to see how she's doing, how that changed her. I also think she served her time, and so like let's see.
But if she's coming out of prison and we get that, I don't want a scarf wrapped around her head. I want to see exactly how she was looking like in jail.
I know, but
no wig. Yeah.
But wait, I just saw something that they said. Maybe I read this. This was one of those things. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe I read it. We're not sure. But I thought I saw that she had like a makeup person.
That's where she was headed straight after jail.
Okay.
Makeup, hair, and then we saw her come out.
Okay.
With the wig.
Okay.
She looks great. I want to see how she's been roughing it up these last.
Yeah.
It's only been like 6 months.
I want at the end of the season for her to just sit down with Giselle and because I think Giselle will grill her, about everything. Yeah. So it's like, I need that. Even more so than I think Andy. I mean, I think the idea of a one-on-one with Andy is great too. Don't get me wrong. And I miss sort of pomp and circumstance of those that he used to do way more of.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I want Karen to sit down with Giselle because I feel like Giselle will really get in there.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm so for it.
And I hope she's good. I hope she's doing well. And
that's what we hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And I want her to take responsibility for what's happened. Because when she left us, she wasn't. Yeah. So I need her to do that.
Yeah, I want to know, how did she evolve? Because yeah, you're right. We at sort of the end of her tenure, it never felt like she really took any responsibility for any of that. Didn't. So I think even as an audience, we kind of want that. We're waiting for that.
Yeah. Because if she doesn't, yikes.
Which will be interesting in its own way, too.
Yikes.
That's something, too. Like, there's something about that I would like to see, too.
And I think Andy will push her on that. I think he'll ask the right questions when it comes to that. And if Andy doesn't, Danny and I would be more than happy to sit down.
Have you interviewed with Karen before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fun.
Only on Zoom, never in person.
Yeah. I think I maybe did a quick red carpet.
I had Potomac at the last BravoCon.
Yeah.
And I went home and took a nap after.
Was it a lot? I was there. I was in the audience of that panel. Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
There were so many things I could not ask. Then they were clearly bickering with each other. And it was a lot. Like, I almost felt like I couldn't really be myself. I was really the wrangler between them, and then also making sure that I was staying on schedule.
The BravoCon panels are much harder than I think people realize because the live audience is humongous.
Mm-hmm.
At least the last one, that audience is huge, okay? So you're basically doing like this live event. You have an earpiece in where there's someone talking to you. They do have strict, don't ask this, please ask this kind of questions. And so it is harder. It is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. They put like rules and restrictions on us, but not the audience. I'm going to start going up to that microphone and asking my own questions in disguise because that is when these people are lit. They've been there all day. There's nothing better. And if they have taken that away from this BravoCon, I will be so upset.
No, they can't take it away. No, I did the Orange County one last time. That was right after Shannon had gotten in the car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like right when we got on stage, I'm like, the audience, they have the order of lists or questions or whatever. But I was like, let's go to that first. Like, let's ask Shannon that first. And she was like a little taken aback, I think. Like, oh, we're starting with that. And I was like, well, that's what everybody wants to know. We're waiting. This just happened. Give us the answer.
Ugh, Shannon. Black lives don't matter, Bador.
Wait, what? Did she?
I won't let her live it down.
Did she? Wait.
She didn't say that, but what she wouldn't say Black Lives Matter when they had the reunion, because that's when it was like political.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Dodd was there, and she wouldn't say Black Lives Matter. Like, she couldn't bring herself to say it. I always bring it up.
Was that the one with Elizabeth Vargas, right? That season? I think I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember. She was there, obviously, but then she wasn't there. And then
I think I didn't cover that season because wasn't that the COVID year?
It was the COVID.
Yeah,
it was
I was
for
like,
sure
I can't
COVID.
watch this because, early on in filming is when COVID started, and then they just like kind of finished the season, and it was a mess.
Yeah, it was for sure COVID, because that's also how I found you. It was during COVID. Okay, Jenn versus Tamra. Now OC seems to be turning a corner because they gave us the mid-season trailer, because I think they all realize that we have had enough.
It's boring, yeah.
It's like we can't keep rehashing the same thing.
They're having a rough season, and I say that as someone who loved the past couple of years of Orange County. I think they had 2 seasons. When Tamra came back, I think they had a little bit of a renaissance. And last season, I thought was so good with the Alexis of it all, and
oh yeah,
it was good. And then now we're kind of turning our wheels a little bit.
Tamra needs a new trick, because I think we notice it, and maybe we forgot about it when she was gone and she came back. And then I think this is her 3rd season since she's been back, we're like, okay, we're seeing it again. Not only are we seeing it, Shannon's calling it out. And it's just so obvious that I think that's part of the problem. It's like, okay, here we go again. It's like a hamster wheel with a cycle of how we know Tamra handles things with the drama and the people she picks to have drama with each season. But Jenn was on Watch What Happens Live, and it's pretty obvious that she and Tamra are not in a good place, even though we saw them. Was it them that made up, or Gretchen that made up this last? No, she made up.
She made up, yeah.
Skipping together on the beach.
Tamra made her rounds to make up with everyone.
Yes, and now she's following Katie.
What's interesting about Tamra, though, is I think because she's got her podcast now and she's doing what we do, where it's like she's analyzing these shows and everything. I almost feel like now that I'm watching her, I see her kind of understanding the mechanics of these shows better and doing. She knows the game a little bit. She's like an all-star at the game now, but it's almost becoming a problem because we're seeing that she knows it too well.
Yeah, if you're an all-star,
the playbook.
If you're an all-star because you've been there for so long, great. If you're an all-star and you're playing the game, it's like what people talk about Kyle Richards and what she's doing. She understands it and plays into the type of housewife that she is, at least at this point, based on that. Tamra's now doing the same thing. And I'm curious as to how this season ends, because if it ended today, I don't know where we go from here.
Yeah, it feels like a group, kind of going off of what we're talking about. Like, Jenn is fascinating to me, even though I don't care for Jenn on the show. I like that she doesn't seem to know how the playbook of Housewives. Like, that's what I think is good about her as for this show, is like she hasn't quite figured out the moves she's supposed to be making, and so it's refreshing to watch her because she doesn't feel as calculated. Even the stuff with Gretchen, it's like obviously she's lying for Gretchen, but it's giving us something to watch because we're like, oh, she doesn't realize she's being kind of played. Whereas if she had been around a little bit longer, I think she might have seen through that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No. I actually have really grown to appreciate Jenn on the show, as I have Emily, or as you refer to her as New Hip.
Hip!
Every time you say that.
Because it was in her tagline.
It's so good. It's so good. I've really, really grown to like Emily. But
see, I'm turning on Emily. I feel like I'm opposite as you. Like I liked Emily, and now I'm kind of like I don't love the stuff she's doing with her kid. I don't like that.
Oh, you don't think she should be talking about it?
No, I feel like a little icky about it.
Would you feel differently if you weren't a dad?
Yeah, I think I'm extra sensitive to it now, but also I think I'm also extra sensitive because it's like it started with this idea of like disordered eating, and I feel like I think of myself. I had eating disorder as a kid, and I just think like I didn't have a handle on it until well into my adulthood, and I think like if my mom was on television talking about it before I was diagnosed or had a handle on it, like that would make me super uncomfortable. So I think that's why I don't like it.
This is why I love perspectives.
But I also feel like I can understand Emily's perspective. I think there's again, angel devil, not that the devil needs advocates, but like I understand that people watching it might help people, right? Like sharing that could help people. I think there's also something to be said about, I'm sure production was like, Emily, what's going on in your life? This is happening. We need you to kind of go into your real life because, and so there's some level, I think, when a housewife is talking about something like that, where the housewife is thinking, okay, I got to keep my job because if I'm going to say, no, I'm not talking about that. Yeah. It's not like Emily was so integral to the show that she can just kind of decide what she will or will not talk about. So I understand sort of all aspects of it, but I don't like it.
I understand what you're saying, and I leaned more towards the side of, I don't have children, but I thought, wow, I'd never heard of this. And I think I grew up as a very, very picky eater. My foods couldn't touch. Juice could not move over into the food. I get fixated on it. Like if it didn't look, sound, smell, or taste right, I wasn't eating it. I have learned as an adult that I have texture issues, and there's something like with that. And I still have, it's like I have to get out of it. But I wondered, it was just dismissed as, oh, she's just picky. And maybe, yes, maybe that's part of it. But as I've gotten older, I don't have some of these same issues. And I just wonder if my mom knew about something like this, was there something that could have taken place to help me, or just the other moms that are, watching and maybe you have a child.
Yeah, maybe they'll connect, or maybe they'll somebody reach out and say, oh, I understand this. Maybe this is what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, and Callie Curry, a co-host on our Friday recap show, she says that when we were talking about it, that a lot of moms she's hearing more and more of moms talk about that disorder, and it's becoming a more common thing. So, but you're right. Like,
I just
maybe
wish he
the
would have
depth
been,
of it.
maybe it feels like if he was maybe a little bit past it, or that, it just feels like he's in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And he's a kid. And I just think like it should be more of his story to tell.
This is why we couldn't be on Housewives, because I'm with you. I would not, when everyone's like, you did reality TV, I'm like, I did The Bachelor. That's in that world. I lived in a different mansion. I was traveling away from home. You don't see the car I drive, what the inside of my house looks like, what restaurants I visit, who I hang out with. You don't know the inner workings of my life. I fear that doing a lifestyle show.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I'm with you. I understand the benefit of it, but I could not tell my child's story like that. I would be very conflicted.
Well, even in my books, I write these essay collections and I talk about a lot of my family and stuff, but I have a control over what I'm sharing.
Yes.
And so I can very easily take something out if I feel like somebody else in my life is going to be uncomfortable by this thing, or if I need to change a name or something like that. There's a control where with something like Housewives, they don't have any control over what's being shown or how it's being handled or anything like that. And so that even leads me to feel like it's even more murky, because it's like you're sharing this very personal thing about your kid, and like you don't have any control over it. Like as a parent, that would drive me insane, of being like, oh, I'm going to trust these producers who lean into drama to tell this story for my son. Like, I don't like that.
I completely agree with you.
But do you feel really protective of, like, I'm curious, coming from Bachelor world, because you didn't have to necessarily have like your loved ones part of it. Do you feel super protective of like your circle when it comes to other projects? Does that make sense?
Like my family?
Like what you share about like,
I mean, like
other people.
Yes, when I was doing my book of essays about me, I was talking about my life before, and some of it I had to talk about parenting, and I was really sensitive, and I didn't tell my parents what I was going to do, but I kind of wrestled with, what do I share where I don't feel like I'm embarrassing my family or criticizing them, just more in hindsight as an adult, what could have worked for me? And I felt, and my family's very private. And so I was very much so conflicted on, I don't want people to, you can assume all the things you want about me. I've put myself out in public for the public to consume and have their own feelings and thoughts about that. But they didn't. And that's not fair to them. So absolutely feel that way.
And
I don't know if I feel that about my friends.
How did your family take it now that time has passed with your book?
My dad didn't read it, which makes sense. But my mom was really appreciative of it, because I also I have a whole chapter about purity culture. I'm very outspoken about that and how problematic that is. And I grew up in that culture, very religious family. And I never felt comfortable talking about sex or that I had it. And I talk a lot about that, not just in that chapter, but throughout the book when I talk about problematic relationships and how growing up in that culture made me romanticize or fantasize about things. And when that bubble was burst, I didn't have anybody to talk to, and I kind of lost my way a bit. And so I talk about losing myself and finding, assurance in men and relationships and all these things. And that felt powerful to me, but I was very afraid of how my family would take it. And my mom was very receptive of it and really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your family? Was it?
Yeah, they
the
were
same?
they were
Yeah.
great about it. I mean, I was very careful of like what, and most of my stuff is like silly stories. There's a couple dramatic chapters in my books, but it's mostly like silly family vacations gone awry and stuff like that. But I think, and also I always try to remember when with my writing of like, keep it focused on my point of view of things. And it's like, I don't want to put words in other people's mouth. And I think that's with Housewives, that should be the thing that they should always hold on to is like, and I think I mentioned this on my podcast of like, with Emily's situation, I would have rather them kind of lean into the Shane and Emily, how they're dealing with
parents.
it as a couple. Because I think that's very fascinating, like how Shane is dealing with it differently than Emily. And that is a more interesting angle where you could still sort of bring up certain things without sharing so much of like this young boys thing. The young boy's just young.
No, you're so right about that. And like, I probably should have considered that more, but no, you're absolutely right.
But do you think like they, I'm sorry, I interrupted you again.
No, you're
Do you
totally
think they like sat him down? I mean, he's young, right? Do you think they said, hey, this is going to be on TV or something?
No. And that, I am totally assuming this, but that could be an issue with why Shane doesn't want to talk about it as much. It kind of brushes through it because he might be coming from where you are on it, and she might be saying, well, this could help some people. So I wonder if that's an issue of.
And how much do you think is a producer in their ear being like, okay, trying to get more? Maybe she was like, oh, I'll talk a little bit about it, and then they kind of keep pulling more out.
Yeah.
I don't know how
taking
much.
advantage of probably like how vulnerable she is, or she comes in crying one day, because that was one of the things. Like, she came in emotional because of something she had just dealt with. I do want to clarify something I said, because we were talking about sharing things and telling somebody else's story, or a story that involves somebody else, and I was very conscious of that. I want to be very clear when I write about this divorce. I'm telling it all. I just want to be very clear.
What's going on?
That.
Is there a divorce book?
I'm working on something. I haven't like really put it out there yet, but like, I want to write about it because I have not talked about it in full detail. And one, I was just trying to get through it, and I was trying to survive it emotionally, and like, I wanted it to be over with and end it. And now that I'm like reflecting and I'm processing through things, I really am going through it. And I think that there's power in talking about it. I don't think people our age, I don't know if we're close in age or not, but talk about
I'm only 25. What are you talking about?
Okay, same.
No.
Okay, I'm totally 27. I don't know if I feel people are getting divorced quickly and at a younger age, and we don't talk about that enough, and there's a lot of shame surrounding it, and I want to change that. There's a lot of empowering moments too, and I feel more myself than ever, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to be able to say. I know myself more. I'm able to look back on mistakes that I made, whether it was pressure I put on myself or societal pressure or pressures from a show, and I think that it's a book that doesn't have to necessarily be about divorce, just about relationships in general.
Yeah.
And how we navigate them, and how we discover ourselves within it too. So I want it to be empowering, but I also want to get into the shits of it, because a lot of people are like, how did this happen? How did you get here?
How long was your divorce, if you don't mind me asking?
The whole divorce, from him filing to, I asked for it, but from him filing to it ending, like a year.
Did you know he was filing?
No. That's.
I hope it's okay that I'm asking you. See,
No,
I put in my
you're
interview
fine.
hat on.
No. That's you can't help yourself. That's why I'm like, you're not interrupting. We're having a conversation.
People want to know.
No, I did not know he was going to file. That is a fact. But we had the conversation 2 days before.
Wow.
2 days before. And I really want to take people through all of that and just talk about it for the first time. Control, like, rather than sit down in an interview, and I can do that after. And talk about the lessons learned.
In book form, I think it's really, you can kind of, I think also in writing, you have a better perspective because you can sit and think about it as you're going through your thoughts. What's your relationship now? Do you guys have a relationship at all?
I can't stand him.
Yeah. Well,
I,
good. Yeah.
there's just honestly no other way to say it. You know,
But
I'm
do you
not going
have
to
to have
say,
any
hey.
communication with him anymore?
Well,
or
yeah,
no?
I still have to give him money.
Okay. What the fuck?
I still have to give him money.
I
So
don't
our
understand that.
conversation is him asking for the money that is owed to him per the judgment.
But why does he think I don't know the inner workings of it, so forgive me for being naive, but like I don't understand why he is getting money.
Legally. It's a law. I mean, he is legally entitled to it. And, you know, this is where
but shouldn't just because
that's a character thing.
yeah.
So because you can, does that mean you should? Well, he would say yes. And so, you know, we never were able to have a real conversation of like, what do you want? Okay, this is what I'm willing to give. It was, I want half of everything you have and spousal support. That was it. And I'm not saying anything that like isn't, you know, once you had to start filing court filings, I wanted all of it to be private. You can have a private judge.
And he didn't want a private?
No, I wanted it loud.
You want a spectacle.
And that's a whole, from the way you filed, you clearly wanted it to be loud. These aren't assumptions. These are the facts.
And that shows you everything about going back to
it's
character.
A character thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think even, you would think even you at one point loved each other. You would think at the bare minimum, wouldn't it make sense to keep this private?
You would just think that that was something like, and again, these are things to flesh out in the book because the way I talk now is not how I always was. And I want to be very clear. I want to take people through all the emotions of it, the shame, the grief, the mourning. It's a death. But yet, in my case, you're still living with the person who died to
Wait,
you.
you guys
you
still
know?
live together after?
Oh, yeah, because you know, it's a whole thing. And I want to be honest about that. I don't want to come out like I was like this super confident. No, I struggled a lot during it. And I want to be honest about that. If there's one thing that I am honest, whether it makes me look good or bad. I really am.
Well, and by the way, that's your story you're telling. It's not like you're telling the story of a child or something like Emily. But also, I think that is a situation that it could help so many people. So many
I hope to.
Women or men who are going through a divorce or
who
are feeling similar ways.
Because when I was looking for, whether it be in podcast form or books or something there were people that I talked to who gave me great advice. But I was looking for something to speak to me in a way that I couldn't really find. So I want to be honest about what happened to me and my own faults in it and hope that somebody who might be going through it, whether it's a breakup of a partnership, a boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, whatever it may be, I want them to say, this really helped me.
You know, I was talking to a friend who went through divorce, and forgive me if this is a clunky question, but was there a moment, I remember she said there was a moment that always like replayed post-divorce, years after her divorce. There was like a moment of their marriage that like kind of just kept playing in her head that felt like either significant or a turning point and it was a small moment. But I wondered, does that make sense? Do you have you have a moment or two that like
I'll write about that.
Or even like a feeling that maybe other people, if they're in a marriage that they feel they want to get out of, like, was there a feeling that kind of replays?
There absolutely was. I had already been feeling it. And they say with women, you feel it before, like, before you actually say it. You've probably known for like a year. I had been having the feeling, but there was a moment that happened where I knew it could never work out. But I also remember the moment where I had to full out lie about what we were when I knew we weren't.
Like publicly?
We weren't that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody asked you about your relationship and
Can you tell me when it was or where it was?
I mean, yeah, it was because a lot of people would refer back to it. Crazy enough, I went on the Vile Files to talk about this reality TV. And I remember them asking about, like, everybody wants to talk about your relationship and why you don't post and certain things. And I remember I was a little bit more honest before about, I can't remember how I said it, but I said something about it wasn't us not working together because I've always been honest, we couldn't do that. Oh, I said we live separate lives. I said that on the podcast. And I heard myself say it and I was like, oh gosh, people are going to hold on
Run
to
with
it.
that.
But we were still living together, but our lives were so, like, I knew I was about to ask for it. Like, I knew divorce was coming. Whether it was going to be him or me, I knew that something was happening. But I had just lost my grandmother. And so I was still trying to process through all that. And then there's something else that happened the week leading up to that where I was like, you know what, let me bury my grandmother. And then when I come back, we're going to have a conversation with this. Like something so big happened for me that week. And I just remember having to be like, we have these separate lives and sometimes people do and we live that, but it works for us. Like that was me trying to clean it up. And I kept thinking, I was like, I cannot believe I have to answer these questions because I know I'm lying.
Do you think subconsciously you shared that publicly in that moment so to kind of help push you along?
No, because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But I couldn't full out say, you know, hey, we're doing great and everything's fine, because that would have been a full out. But I was like, we are living separate lives because we were. And there was truth in that. And then I tried to clean it up. And then a lot of people harped on me too, because they said that I was talking about wanting to have children and that we were trying. That is true. Now, it might not have been true in that moment, but that was something that was true. And I did and do still want children. And so people were like, how could she was just talking about wanting to have kids and blah, blah. And I was, but it's, you know, it's also like, well, what did people expect me to do in that moment?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just sit and tell Nick and Natalie, we're actually not doing that great. And, you know, like these are the things that it's like I hated myself in that moment because it was like, I can't fully be honest, but I knew also what was coming.
Yeah.
I was like, it's coming. I didn't know it was coming right then.
I can't even imagine because, you know, the relationship started on this public forum, like how much pressure there is in a million different ways. And pressure to share everything, to keep certain things private, and then, I'm sure even, is it hard now? Are there like things you read or something about the relationship where you're like, that's such a misconception? Or
oh, for sure.
Is there like a biggest one that you're like, God,
that I wasn't family oriented? I think, and that really hurts my feelings
think that?
Because he also played into it.
Oh.
And so this is why I also want to write about it. And it's the same reason I wrote my first book, because I allowed somebody else to control the narrative.
Miss me with that.
And thank you. I allowed somebody else to control the narrative, which you do when you go on a reality show. And I wanted for people to get to see me. The narrative I really hated the most was that I was this picture perfect person as the Bachelorette, which they do. I was messy and made mistakes in relationships and all of these things. And I wanted people to tap into that. I'm not the person you see now. I want you to see how I became this person. And with the divorce, I haven't said much. Like here and there, I mean, I'm talking a lot now. And here and there,
it's my Barbara Walters skills.
You're doing very good, Danny.
Tune into Everything Iconic and get my bucks.
Such a successful podcast. But here and there on Higher Learning, I'll say certain things. But I allowed a certain narrative to be painted about me, and I allowed him to play into it. There were certain things that I was accused of in motions that he filed. He sat down with a divorce coach where he...
A what now?
Exactly. He sat down with a divorce coach, for men only, by the way, whose tagline is grow them balls back when they've been taken away from you.
God, what is
he
happening?
Sat down with this guy and teased a 3-part series. And in it, he talked about my fertility. And I've never spoken about that. And it also is not the truth. And so it was hard for me, and we were still mid-divorce. It was hard for me to be very silent about that. And so so he played into certain things about, you know, things he did to further my career. And it played into this narrative of, and I'm not saying he didn't. I am not saying that there was not sacrifice on his end and my end. There was moving back and forth between both of us. He absolutely made sacrifices. I would never take that away from him.
As you probably made sacrifices for his.
I did too, but we did. But see how I can acknowledge that was done on his side, but he couldn't give it to me? He played into certain narratives about me that made me seem like I wanted to be famous, that I was all about celebrity, and that I was all about my career and nothing else. And that probably is one of the most hurtful things to me because I know what we were doing behind closed doors. And these are things that I want to write about.
And there must be some also frustration because you know that he knows that. And it's like, how could you have loved me and know that? Like that, I don't know, that's what breaks my heart. It's like, you did love me. You know, in any marriage, you love each other.
Yeah.
And so you know the truth. And so even if you hate me now, it's like,
yes, because I wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge that I was not perfect. But, you know, and the reason for doing that, you did that all because you wanted to look a certain way and you wanted me to look another way. And how did that work out for you?
Can I ask you, in the marriage, was he, I forgive me, I don't know the world of Bachelor that well, but was he did he want public perception to play a certain way, or was he into public perception of how he looked? And
yeah, and I always felt bad for him because I felt like the show didn't show him in the best light, and the audience loved the other guy more than they loved him, and I always felt sorry for him. And so in a lot of ways, I tried to protect, probably longer than I should, his image, because I did feel like he was wrongly portrayed in certain ways. And so I always felt like he was trying to show people who he was because he was unfairly shown in some ways. And I played into that a lot as well, and probably maybe ignored some things because I was so badly wanted people to see how good of a person I thought he was.
But I find that, what you just said, to be so relatable. I know so many women in my life who, the protection of like,
oh yeah,
you want to protect, even whether public eye or not. I mean, the situations I'm thinking of, it's like people trying to protect their husband's perception with their inner circle, you know, not in the public eye, but just in general. And I think women are they
we
want to protect that
do.
image for them and do it for.
And then if it doesn't work out, no one's like, wow, she really did a lot, you know? Like, it's just more of, I don't know, that whatever assumptions or whatever people have of you, or maybe one other person plays into it, you know, like there's little things you do. Like, I'd always be like, this is our house. We bought it. I bought it.
See, that's what I love. That's one of the reasons I love being gay, is because like there's not as much of that. Like, I don't feel there's not as much of that of like, you got to play this role. Like, this person has to have the money and this person doesn't, or whatever. It's like, I don't know. Gay people just don't have that kind of like societal thing that.
No, that's that. Yeah.
We have other issues.
Yeah, I was just about to say, sadly, there are other things that you have to
But we don't deal with
like
that kind of like stereotypical masculinity and femininity. And, you know, the husband has to be the breadwinner. The wife has to do this or whatever. It's like, I don't know.
No. You're right. That's like, it's a give and take on.
Even with my husband, you know, he's mostly like stay at home. He does freelance, but he's mostly the stay at home dad now. And there's not like I don't feel any weirdness. I don't think he feels any weirdness about it. Yeah. But I think in traditionally heterosexual relationships, there can be weirdness. And I know heterosexual couples where the dad's the stay at home parent and the mom's the working parent, or, you know, goes to the office parent. Am I saying that right? And there's so much more of a thing with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because of gender roles that exist in our society, sadly.
Do you feel like you have good perspective on everything now?
I think I do. There's certain things, and I would maybe this is a chapter in the book or an essay, but
do we have the book deal yet? Because I'm ready to call up my publisher. And be like,
not yet. But this is promoting. This is promotion for the book. Clip it, save it. It is promotion. But I have written the first chapter. And I have like I haven't even told my agent this. I finished the first chapter finally.
We need to get this out.
I finished it.
We need to get this out.
I've really been in like a deep kind of sitting still, kind of processing this. And even talking about this helps it. I'm like, oh, I want to write an essay on this. And I want to write an essay on this. And I want to make sure that I don't forget certain things. What did you ask me? If you
have more perspective on it now.
I really do. I think if I had done it last year, I may have been angry. If I had done it, you know, this was the year to do it, because there are other things I want to write about. Not just that. It's like, I'll write from the perspective of a woman, obviously, but and it could apply to anyone, dating again. What does that look like?
How is it?
I've never been on, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But I've never been on dating apps. being intimate with someone for the first time. These are real things that have come up for me over the last couple of years. And I want to talk about stepping back into those things. I've had people ask me those questions before. So I want to write about that loneliness, having someone with you the whole time for years. You know, we were married for 4.5, but almost together for 7.
Wow.
Now it's you all by yourself again. What that feels like to be lonely, what it feels like to prepare for a future with someone, and then that's completely taken away from you and you kind of start over and you have this new perspective. Like these are all different things that come about that, not just divorce. I mean, divorce, we talk about it in a marriage sense, but you divorce a partnership, you divorce a relationship.
Would you do, I mean, maybe that's too personal of a question, but would you do it all again?
Well, I would definitely have a prenup.
Yeah.
But, one thing, I said this to somebody yesterday. I am such a lover, and I never really thought that about myself. So, would I do it again? No, I wouldn't do it like exactly like that. I would absolutely have a prenup. But I don't fault myself for leaning into love because obviously there was love there. I don't fault myself for taking a risk. I do fault myself in some ways for listening to your gut is a real thing. I'm a gut-oriented person, and there were things that I felt in my gut that, and I'll write about it, that I knew were wrong. And I still ignored them because of pressures that I put on myself. But I'm a lover, and I'm glad that I know that about myself and that I lean into love. I don't know if I'm a hopeless romantic, but I love, I guess. And I don't know if that's maybe the same definition. And I love that I love that. I love that I'm not scared anymore. I used to be very scared, and I did used to lead with career, and I did used to lead with just like everything had to be logical. And I'm glad that I'm not afraid to let myself fall. And I'm glad that I know that about myself. When I love very hard without thinking too much about other people's what other people think about it. It's what I feel about it. I'm very much so tapped into energy. And yeah, I love that about myself.
Oh.
Love her.
And also, I think everything sort of leads you to your next step always.
Yeah.
I think even the worst of times, I think that about parenting now a lot. It's like I don't want to make everything perfect for my son because it's like that isn't going to make you have an interesting personality. It's not going to, you need all that kind of the bad stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want horrible things to happen.
No,
but,
I know.
You want to protect on some level, but I just think every kind of bad thing just adds more to your personhood.
I agree too. I absolutely agree. See, I'm glad you said that. Sometimes I get really scared to have kids. I know I want kids, and it may look different for me now and how I go about that, but I get really scared because of the world. I mean, look where we are right now, and to hear you say the way when you think about being a parent and what you want for your child and how you want to protect them, and you can't. It's like that kind of stuff makes me say, okay, like it gives me a little bit more hope.
Let me tell you something. I've heard that so many times since we had this child, 3 months old.
Mm-hmm.
He is. His name's Luciano, but we call him Lucky. Anyway, I think everyone keeps saying, I hear from people who want to have kids who are like, this world is too terrible right now, or they'll kind of ask about that. And I agree that the world is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. But I also feel like it's such an opportunity to raise good humans and put good humans out into the world. Like I think that is also very important. And I think what I've learned is that there is something beautiful about it. Kind of reminds you of like what the whole life is about and everything. Like I think having this baby, it's like you're so tired, you're not sleeping, and you kind of realize what life is just this love.
The innocence of a child. Whenever I feel like things are going too dark, I am around children.
You kind of have to force. I mean, everything going on in the world, like I've had to sort of not follow a lot that's going on in the news or get off social media or whatever because I don't have the mental capacity right now. Like if I'm not sleeping all week at night, like I can't take in exactly what's going on with the president.
Yeah.
And so I have to kind of take, but I think in some ways that has been a beautiful thing to kind of step back and just like sit in the moment with a baby who's learning to use their hands and like the most basic of things, or the learning to grab, or at 2 months he started smiling, and so it's like you're seeing someone learn how to smile, and it's sort of like, oh, this is what life is.
I can't
watching
wait till you
someone
write about this.
I'm doing
I
that
know
too,
you
right?
are.
Yeah.
I know you are. I can tell from the way
the
way you just described that. Let me know that you're writing.
Yeah,
but you're always writing.
I'm always writing, but yeah, I think like learning, seeing that, I think it adds so much depth to the world and I was kind of a pessimist looking at the world beforehand and just saying being a little scared. It's now a good time to bring a child into this world. It's scary. But then now that I'm at least a few months in, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm realizing like this is what life is about. For me, at least. I understand also people who, I think it's totally wonderful, people who decide they don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
But I think I've learned so much just really kind of, see, I'm tired. I'm not sleeping. So that's why I'm having trouble with my words. But it's like breaking it all down to just the basics of what life is. It's like just seeing someone smile for the first time. Like that's kind of fucking cool.
It's beautifully put. Seeing a lot of firsts. We don't get to see firsts anymore. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the beauty of Housewives or Bravo.
Back to Bravo.
Because we say this on Morally Corrupt. They say the smartest people in the world watch reality TV.
They do.
And it's not just the drama, which we do love, and like the silliness of it. You always talk about that on your show. Like the show is so stupid.
So stupid.
So
we
silly.
love it. Yeah.
But it is a show that is about sociology and psychology and anthropology, and how humans work and their behavior and how they function in society. And it led us to this beautiful conversation of talking about relationships and humanity and force and children and innocence. And like that is, well, one, it just shows how great of podcasters we are if we could toot our own horn, and how we need to have better we need to talk more and also do a show together.
I know, we need a show.
But like it does show the things that you can draw from what we're watching and relate them to what's happening.
Even one of my favorite things about Housewives is like, it's such a stupid, simple little thing, but watching how someone turns a phrase, and I think some of the most memorable things are just the way that somebody said something. Like it just, the way that they argue, like that is so, it's so funny to me that like, oh, Dorinda decided to yell clip, like, or, you know, like that, it goes back to sort of the sociology or whatever. It's like, I'm fascinated by that. And I love to just watch how a human is going to speak their sentence about some situation.
Yes. Wait till
speak their sentence.
Little Lucky starts watching Bravo. All right,
he's already been watching.
I will make it. Can you imagine what his first word? If he could pick a first Bravo word, what would it be?
A clip. Yeah. I had to turn it off. The one day we were watching, I was like, he was like staring at the TV because he was in his bassinet in the living room, and I was just watching myself. But I noticed him like staring at the TV. I was like, this is not good. I need to turn it off. So I turned it off, but I'm sure he'll get into Bravo.
I'm so excited for him to jump into that world. Okay, yes, there was other news that we didn't get to, but I love the beautiful conversation that we had. I'm going to go right after this.
We made headlines, though. I feel like this is going to be
every time with you. Okay, the first time I did Danny's podcast, this is how we met, guys. I said I discovered you in COVID, even though I knew, I was like, wait, because I listened to Bitch Sesh. So I was like, I know this voice. I know who he is. But somehow I found your podcast and I went back and I started listening to old episodes, because also I just love the sound of your voice.
Oh, thank you.
I love ASMR, and there's something that's triggering to me about your voice in a good way that soothes me at the same time. So I'll even go back and listen to an old episode because it just your voice relaxes me. But I wrote you and I was like, I just have to say, like, I'm obsessed with you and I've been listening, whatever. And you're like, you should come on the show. So come on the show. And you're like, I don't.
And I don't know the world of The Bachelor.
Bachelor.
There's been a couple seasons I've tuned in for, but it was just it's a lot for me to take in because I'm in the Bravo world. And so the times that I have dipped my toe in, it's just been a lot. It's like too many hours of it. But
and the irony,
so
I didn't know. Lauren Zima.
I didn't know like what was, and so what you were talking about, like I didn't even know what the headlines we were making. You're like, this is going to make headlines, and I was like, oh,
I was like, this is, and like after I was like, this is going to be bad, and I was like, because I said the thing about, and look, I like to think that was a beautiful moment because I said the thing about my co-host at the time, Becca Kufrin's podcast partner. They were already having trouble, which I knew, which is kind of why I feel like I had the freedom. They break up. She goes on Bachelor in Paradise, meets Thomas, her now husband, who she has a child with, and they have this beautiful family and life in San Diego. Like, you're welcome. And things that happen here. Maybe
so
I'll get. Maybe
it worked out okay for everybody.
We'll finalize the book deal after this podcast as well.
I just did that Nick Viles show, and I just, I didn't know. No, they were lovely and great, but I just was like, I just don't know a lot. I feel like I see sometimes headlines about certain Bachelor people, but I'm like, I don't know exactly the inner workings.
Stay that way.
Yeah, and it's like I'm sure I can lean in, and once I do lean in and read about it, I'll just become overwhelmed and obsessed with learning about every drama thing. But I'm I don't really know what's going on.
You're doing fine. I'm probably going to do Nick's podcast in a couple of weeks coming up here. I was on his season.
Oh.
So I have a different...
Okay, so I have another question. I know you're probably trying to wrap this up. Jasmine from The Valley was on that season?
So Jasmine and I were on the same season together.
Okay.
On The Bachelor. So I know Jasmine, well, now...
Did you like Jasmine on the show?
Love her.
Okay.
Oh, on the show. I feel like my biggest thing with Jasmine, I always say, is I love her on the show because I love Jasmine. We just did a bachelorette party with one of the girls we were on the show with because we've all been friends for 9 years at this point. We had a blast in Miami. I feel like Jasmine doesn't get her point across well. And I wish that sometimes she gets lost in what she's saying, and I feel like it doesn't come out right. And I just want her to stand on what she believes. If you don't like Janet or whoever it may be, just don't like them and stand in that. And I feel like sometimes she kind of backtracks when she's confronted with it.
Would you ever do that show, The Valley?
Well, I do live in the Valley.
I mean, that show would make sense. It would be so easy to get you with Jasmine on there because you know her.
Now, I'll go to lunch with Jasmine or something.
Yeah.
But
that would be fun.
I've said...
You should do a cameo thing.
Yeah. Alex would like that. Baskin, I couldn't go on the show because I've said too much.
Okay.
I've said too much. I'm telling Sheena, I don't think you should be on the show. And then I'm like, hey guys. But again, they'll be in my house.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that. But I would absolutely go on that show.
That'd be fun.
If Jasmine threw a party, I would go.
I know Jasmine a little bit
party.
too. Let's all go to lunch together.
Oh, we should totally do that.
I'm inviting myself along.
No. You should invite yourself. You should. Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up because I'll jump into another conversation. We'll wrap it up.
It's dangerous. We shouldn't be allowed to
having you here.
Talk together.
I loved having you here. I feel good. I feel
great.
Inspired. I hope you guys do too.
Can you give people if somebody's going through, because I always think if there's someone out there who's going through a relationship, they're feeling like they need to get out of it. Is there one piece that you would tell them right now, or one little piece of advice that you could share?
If you're trying to get out of it, if you're asking yourself that question, you already know. Your gut is and I mean your gut. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about what you feel in your heart or your head. I mean just that voice that's whispering, that thought that you wake up to in the morning, or that you're taking a shower and it pops up in your head. So I won't really talk to that. It's just more of when you do make that decision, or I should say you can make that decision. Don't be afraid to make the decision because you can't see what's on the other side of it. Fear is a nasty thing that'll hold you back from so many things. It'll hold you back from your dreams, a job opportunity, that person you're supposed to be with, that person you're supposed to get away with, those things that you desire in your life, whether it's a child like myself, because it may look different from the way that I always saw it. There are so much. Fear will be debilitating to you, but you can do it. Make the decision. And then stand in the decision. Something somebody said to me, Tia Mowry, and I paraphrase it. The women who got publicly divorced spoke life into me as I was going through it. And something that she said to me, and I always paraphrase it to fit me, but it was, don't look at the past because it'll hold you back. You'll romanticize that thing you're trying to let go of, whatever it may be, and you'll hold on to yesterday, and that will keep carrying you forward. Speaking of songs, there's a song called Mirror by Madison Ryan Ward. I think that's her name. Amazing. And it talks about that. Keep me in your mirror, but don't take your eyes off the road. But don't look at the past. It'll hold you back. Don't look at the future because it'll give you anxiety. That is something I struggle with because I try to control everything. But that will drive you crazy. But she said, every day, be present, stand in it, and every day you survive that day and you become stronger for it. And that's the advice I give you. You can do it, whatever it is you're afraid to, but then stand in it. And every day, it's I don't want to say the simple thing of, take it day by day, but that is real because the truth is you survive the day. Every day you survive it. And how you feel today is not how you'll feel yesterday, or how you'll feel the next day and the next day and the next day. So lean into that.
And all those days that you survive, they're going to make you such a more well-rounded tougher, badass, cooler person, even to just yourself. You're going to be able to look at yourself and be like, gosh, that horrible thing that I went through for a couple months or whatever.
Yeah.
That I'm so glad I went through that. Now I feel so strong. Like you'll feel like you could take on anything. I once went skydiving, and this is sort of an offshoot, but I probably would never do it again. But I remember getting to the ground and thinking I could do anything. Like when you go through a tough time or a scary time or whatever, you kind of feel like, okay, I can handle anything now.
Yeah.
And you sometimes have to push yourself to those limits.
For sure. And it's a part of your story. Everything I do.
Everyone has a story.
Even if it's going. I can't believe I said that and didn't make that connection because I do love when you say that. Who said it though?
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Wise words of KLG.
Kathy Lee Gifford. Even if it's like going to dinner, I'm always like, there's going to be a story that comes from it. And I love that. I love a story to tell from everything. And, you know, if you're religious, it's your testimony. If you're not, it's your story. It's your journey. If you're a Bachelor fan, it's whatever it may be, but it's something beautiful that makes you
Who wants to get to the end of this all and not have a story?
I know.
You want to have a story.
I know.
What happened
It's why
here?
we write.
Yeah,
It's why we write.
Which get my books.
Danny, you're doing everything. I don't know how you keep up with it. Also while wearing the dad hat, tell everybody where they can find you, what you're working on, where they can get your books, and what you're working on next. The holidays are coming up, so I know you have big
I have
things.
two books. One's called How Do I Remember This? The other's The Jolliest Bunch. Jolliest Bunch is a holiday collection, so if people want something for the holidays, but they're both, I'm really proud of them, and they're silly, like millennial David Sedaris style, if you're interested. And then I have a podcast called Everything Iconic. My social media is at Danny Pellegrino, and that's it. Yeah, I'm working on my next book too, which will be, it'll still be a while, but I've been in the thick of it. It's really fun. I'm super excited. It'll be more stories, but kind of centered around parenting.
You're such a great storyteller.
Thank you so much.
Such a dying art. You guys, thank you so much for joining us on a robust episode of Morally Corrupt. I hope you got from it as much as we did. Everything. Make sure you join us Friday for our recap version of Morally Corrupt. Until then, guys, have a beautiful week. Have a safe week. Take care of yourselves. A lot going on right now in the world. Find something you can escape to. And hopefully it's a book.
Yeah.
After this podcast, it's a book.
Hopefully it's our books.
Bye, guys. Yeah, our books for sure.